Oh my goodness, we are live from the cabin on 360 Vibe Time with Geri. I'd like to welcome everybody and our guests. I'm so sorry that we are how many minutes late? 15 minutes late due to technical difficulties. I'm going to have to blame it on behind the red door because you never know what happens behind the red door. Co-host David Flowers and Tennis Estolock. He's at the door. We want to talk a little bit about the Cabicom, but I'm going to wait and let Dennis do that. I need to know if everybody can hear me okay.
Gotcha.
Okay. See, that's all right. So am I supposed to sit here and wait, or should I try to reset the page?
As much shit as we've gone through, I wouldn't reset shit.
All right, so I can't see comments, and I'm afraid if I try to reset the page, it's going to mess up everything. So
I got my comments open. Will that help?
Yeah, that'll help out quite a bit because I want to see comments, but I can't. The only way for me to do it is if I hit this button right here. Shall I?
Hi, y'all. We'll try this. Click it. I mean, what's the worst?
Oh, God.
Okay. I know. This is terrible. All right, David, how'd you get that one thing?
Hi, John.
Wait, that's not right. That's not right. Well, if you shrank John Savage, there he is.
Uh-huh.
I know it's the worst
this is
thing.
our screen.
It's the worst thing.
I
know. I'm so sorry.
That's the right one. Okay. Hey,
John Savage is like, I'm not coming on here no more, damn it.
There, now we got all three of us on camera.
Hello.
And I still don't see any messages.
We're working.
Yeah, we're looking. Well, we got
chat?
two chats right there. So.
Okay, I got a lot of clusterfuck from Ronnie. What's it up there? Comments are working.
Is that Ronnie Rickard or Ronnie
Ronnie
Anderson?
Rickard, yes.
Ronnie Rickard, yeah, what a clusterfuck. You're exactly right.
We still love you though, Ronnie.
Yeah, you're exactly right.
So
look,
I see it. Ronnie Rickard, what a clusterfuck. Yes. Kind of like trying to fuck a flying donut.
Oh my gosh, it's just everything was working fine when I came in here early to get everything set up. Everything was perfect, and then this happens.
Yeah. That's what they all say.
Yeah. And then of course, your mysterious papers flying off the.
So, like, I have additional no trespassing signs in a little cubby closet in here, and there was some paperwork stacked on them from this big Recordex monitor on the wall. They've been up in that cabinet for weeks. While we're fighting this, we hear this thud, and I go around the corner, and all that shit has come out of the cabinet and is sprawled out on the floor. Like, okay, then.
Had the body camera on, so at least that part was recorded.
Yeah, the audio's there, but
the audio's there. Part of the video, but not, unfortunately, on that side. Oh, but you got cameras. Don't they go playback?
No.
Damn it.
No, I disarmed them because we're here. And that camera probably does capture that closet, but it's not on record right now because we're here, and I didn't want to waste all that recording.
Because I was going to say, on an SD card, you should be able to play it back.
Yeah, it would be on my camera.
That would be so cool. That would be really cool.
And it all came out of that cabinet.
But nobody was there.
So, like, I don't know if I can even do this. So, like, this cabinet way over here is where it came from. Let's see if I can do it. There we go. And that cabinet's been closed for weeks.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. But like I said, I've got the cameras disarmed, so they're not recording while we're sitting here. I don't know. Just the spirits at the cabin playing games.
Yeah.
But at least they're not shitting in the driveway.
This is true.
Remember, that was a different kind of spirit there.
This is true. Well, we're at the cabin on 360 in case people don't know, because we have new viewers Cabin on 360. That's where we're airing from. And Dennis has his first Cabicon coming up in May.
May 30, 31st, and June 1.
Now,
and sadly, I don't think I'm going to actually be able to host it here at the cabin.
Oh.
It has grown exponentially beyond what I expected it to be. I think I'm going to have to change the venue, which that announcement will be made if and when it is decided and I get approval and contract on the location, which I will tell you now, the location that I'm looking to do it at is Battlefield Elementary School, which was the school that Melissa was going to when she was murdered.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So it would be held at her alma mater. But yeah, CabinCon 2025 is shaping up awesome. I've got some pretty amazing guests coming in to speak. I have fantastic sponsors. Middletown Paranormal hit me with a platinum sponsorship, and I can't tell you how much that means just to have somebody that, you know, has enough faith and belief in me and this location to throw that kind of money at me. I mean, platinum is $500 sponsorship, and that's a huge thing, man. That one, I'm not going to lie, I looked at it when it came in and went, holy shit. So Middletown, Mr. Rickard, Shayla, thank you both so much. I know it was a debate undoubtedly to let go of those funds, but thank you so much. I've got FPRI went with gold, which in itself is a $250 sponsorship. I think I've got 5 or 6 silver sponsors right now. So it's pretty amazing the support that CabinCon has gotten already. So we're definitely moving forward. We do need to get the word out about the cabin, though, and this is a prime example. I've got a 7-Eleven that I stop at virtually every day and get my first cup of coffee of the day, and the cashiers all know me there. So I went in tonight. I've got the Cabin on 360 shirts on, and she's like, "Hey, so when's your haunted house open? Is that just Halloween time?" I'm like, "What? No. Let me explain something to you. This isn't like, Scare City or something like that. There's no jump scare actors. This is a true haunted house. It's a paranormal destination." Wait, you mean like with ghosts and shit? Yeah, with ghosts and shit.
Literally
in the driveway. Have camera proof. But she was like, "Oh shit, I did not realize that." They just keep saying that, the woman or the guy that comes in here and owns the haunted house. She's like, "I thought they were talking, like a haunted house." No. I mean, it is haunted, both buildings, but it's not a jump scare place. So,
gosh, can you imagine if she thinks that, the amount of people that may be thinking that with her and don't realize?
And that was, so like my new design on the shirts, a lot of them have the "What Lies Beyond the Red Door." Like yours on the back has "What Lies Beyond the Red Door." I have printed a bunch of the DTF direct to film that's going to be put on these, that on the very bottom of it says "A True Paranormal Experience." So that'll make a big difference. So Ronnie, if it does change to the school, can we set up inside if it rains? Everybody but you. Yes. Because, I'm literally going to be renting part of the school. There's a charge for the parking lot. There's employees that have to be paid, but undoubtedly it'll be set up in either the cafetorium, they call them now, or the gymnasium. Yeah, cafetorium. I'm like, what the hell is that? I don't know. But yeah, it will be set up inside, Ronnie. The food trucks, of course, I'm going to leave outside. I don't think they want them in the building.
That's right. You got food trucks coming.
I do.
Down.
I got 2 of them.
Nice.
One is called the Battered Badger. And wait till you check out their menu, like deep fried Twinkies and shit like that. And I mean, come on, who's in her fat kid ain't going to chow down on some deep fried Twinkies?
I'll do it.
I'm down. But yeah, the other one is Flavor Chariot, and he was here for our open house, and he's got some amazing food.
Yes, he does.
So that's where we're going with that.
Hey there, Phil.
But like I
Hey,
said,
Phil.
I've got to get through the contract and application and all that crap. No, Ronnie, I'm going for inside, brother. There's no sense in trying to do it outside. I'm not just renting their parking lot. I'm going to actually go into the building. Hey, Phil. And Phil posed I think it was Phil. I got to look. I'm pretty certain it was Phil that was messaging me today. And he had some really good questions. Yeah, there we go. His first one, where'd it go? Oh, shit. Question for you. I've seen on Google Maps that the dirt road next to the cabin leads to some cell phone towers. Have you studied whether these might cause interference with investigations back in those woods? Which, Phil, that was a great question. And my response to him was, I've done as much study as I can. A couple hours with a K2 and tri-field watching fluctuations, barely any noticeable change at all. Hey, Ryan. So, and that just goes to show that, people are watching the cabin. They are looking at things. The fact that he went in and did probably a Google aerial, saw that the access road beside the property goes to the cell phone towers. Very valid question. Do they have any play in what's going on? No, it's not, Ronnie. That's the driveway next door at the Brick Rancher. Literally, he was in the driveway when he took a shit on the property, bro. But yeah, so the cell phone towers, I don't know what they actually emit, but they didn't interfere with the K2 meter. They didn't interfere with the tri-field meter unless I went to radio frequency, which I'm assuming probably local emergency management system has a repeater on that tower. But RF signal isn't what we are looking for when we're doing these things. K2 meter has a very little interference from RF, but it will interfere with it. Whereas these things, man, I sat back there for a couple of hours. Matter of fact, Ryan and I were walking all over those woods, tri-field and K2s, and couldn't find any major fluctuations. So I don't think the towers play any factor into what's back there.
At all? Nothing?
Euler.
I have to get back to
him. Yeah, Ryan got to watch it. But yeah, so, and here's my thought. Speaking of frequencies and energy and all of that. So Saturday night, we did Pamplin Park. Off the rails. I mean, just activity galore. I know we have these 7 planets in alignment or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Right.
What type of energy are they creating that we're not monitoring that maybe we should be?
Yeah, and it makes me wonder if with the Schumann resonance, the Earth's energy, I didn't even check that. We haven't checked that lately. Normally we'll go online and check it and see what it is to see, does our paranormal activity increase when stuff like you got planet lineup, you've got energy coming off of planets the next couple nights, and that's why some people are feeling the way they're feeling right now, I guess, with the energy pool.
Yeah, I mean, is there a portable meter that we could use to watch things like that?
Look up the Schumann. You went on with your phone.
Now, Frank, with all your research, and John as well, because both of you are very well educated. Mm-hmm. I know the moon affects our oceans and our tides and everything. That's all electromagnetics, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So those stay fairly stable even during a full moon. But with solar burst, what type of energy are those putting at us? And is there a portable, like a K2 that we can carry around and watch for whatever energy type that is? Because I'm wondering if those, with the planets being in alignment, they're saying that there's massive solar flares coming kind of with that timing. Could that be a variable that we need to monitor as a field to know?
Well, when we investigate, we do take. There's nothing I know of that could actually read it per se. I don't think there's anything. I don't know of any devices you can, hold out and it'll react to. I think it's just such a large scale. It hits at such a large scale. But we do monitor the sun for our investigations as well. We do monitor the fields of the sun with the solar storms and all that stuff, just to see if there's any correlation to activity. Can't say we've ever proven that there was, but with every investigation we do document those factors. Magnetic field, with the solar flares, all that stuff. So as for the moon, I have done investigations myself that I've been able to pinpoint certain. I've been able to pinpoint certain locations that do seem to be affected by the moon, although I can't prove it 100%.
Blackout.
In fact, there's one location that only likes us to come out when the moon is full, because we found that the activity seemed to be at its greatest during that. Now, I have done some from the skeptical side. They say that the moon has the ability to affect tides and so forth because there's a larger scale. But the science community does not think that we as individuals we don't have enough water mass to actually be affected by it, which I completely disagree with it, because there's more pregnancies, more births during full moons and whatnot. So I think the science community tries to shoot us down with that, but paranormal community stands by it, that there is definitely something with the moon being full. So,
well, I know from law enforcement, from first responder standpoint, period. Full moon is a dreaded time of the year because people just act batshit crazy.
Whacked out.
So
it has to affect it. We're 90% water, right?
Yeah, the human body is supposed to be 73% water,
like that, whatever it is, the number.
And the planet Earth is like 75% water. So we're right there neck and neck. So if it affects water, our oceans, it's got to affect us.
Yeah, I think it does. I think it does personally. Like I say, we do document that information, trying to find a correlation. It's like you say, like we said before, it's difficult to recreate though, because we can investigate on a full moon. Every time there's a full moon, we can go to the same location. Yeah, that might be something, but the conditions around the full moon are still different. We can't create the same, and we can't exactly recreate the environment to what it was the first time. So it's very difficult for us to do a true scientific method, as you would call it. Where we can recreate, but we do try to find correlations. And like I said, we do have a couple locations that do seem to be affected by the moon. Coincidence, possibly. I don't know. Now, solar, like I said, I've never had anything affected by solar that I'm aware of. I've not made any correlations to say that when there's a solar flare and it hits the Earth, and we're expecting that magnetic field to whack the Earth, and you chance for aurora borealis kind of thing. And we just had that up here not long ago. About a month or two ago, we had the actual aurora in the sky, which was rare for us to see that here in New Jersey. So having pretty strong electric field.
We had that as far down here as well.
Yeah, I don't know how. I know that we saw it pretty clearly up here, and it might have been the same storm that I'm talking about. So I didn't have the privilege to go out and investigate during that time. It would have been nice to have known it was going to happen and maybe set something up, but you can't predict those kind of things, Whereas a full moon, you could look at a calendar and say, I know the next full moon is going to be on X date of every month, and you can try and investigate and see if you can find that correlation. But can't predict the moon, can't predict the sun. So to say there and say with any kind of confidence that the sun affects things, no, I wouldn't be able to say that 100%. I do think it does, though.
I can't see how it couldn't.
I agree. It has to. I mean, everything's in balance, you know?
Yeah, I mean, anything with that much energy has to be able to have an effect. The question is, does it change the paranormal and the action, the activity? You know, does it feed spirit? You know, we know we wouldn't have developed EMF pumps if we didn't believe that an EMF rich environment didn't feed them. The fuck was that? Is there anything on camera was flying around me? Because I just got flumped in the back of the fucking head.
I didn't see anything.
It was like this, right on the back of my head. Like, what the hell? Stop! Jesus. I was ready to whack you, but I'm looking at you on camera and it wasn't you. Wait, yeah, I mean, anything as much energy producing as the sun or the moon. Look, there's a bug. Okay, so maybe that's what smacked me in the back of the dome. I don't know. Hit me right in the back of the head. But, I mean, I think we would have to be naive if we didn't think that the sun had some impact of some type. And the question is, how do we monitor that?
I don't know if there's any equipment we can do it with. I mean, I mean, it's a radiation, I guess, in a sense. I mean, Geiger counter won't pick it up. Though. It's not that kind of radiation, you know. I actually have a Geiger counter. I have one. We use that for sweeping in houses as well. I mean, we try everything. We're willing to put it out there, but yeah, I have nothing. I can say nothing with any confidence of something we've discovered that the moon or the sun directly have an effect upon. I think it's just too large of a scale for our meters, which are more precision to pick up.
Yeah, any sort of a pocket-sized device, I don't think would be able to monitor that.
Too small. You need something that would be able to pick up, be able to monitor the atmosphere and hitting us at a large. You figure how big the Earth is. I mean, it's hitting the Earth, but it's spreading out across the entire planet. It's not like it's concentrated in one area. So, I mean, I have never seen anything that affects it. Now, but then we have knowledge that when the sun hits like our satellites and everything, it does throw our signal off. I mean, it can destroy equipment out in space. So, I mean, obviously there's things that are affected by it. We don't have any pocket-sized satellites in our houses we can take out with this to see if it's true or not. But, interesting thought, but I don't know. I'd love to be able to prove it. I mean, we think if we could only figure out what exactly makes them tick in a sense. What is that one factor that we just don't know about that would be like the holy grail of investigating?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Was if we could come up with, my Whatchy Jiggy 2000 says that we have 12 billion particles of this or that. This thing's the holy grail and activity is off the rails. That would be a rich son of a bitch.
Yeah, the person who can finally develop that piece of equipment that can, take that photograph at the same time, hear the voice, and and everything correlates perfectly, then lines up right in line. Well, that's everybody's waiting for that moment. But you can say until that time,
Radar's not going to do it.
Savage, are you writing all this stuff down? Because
we need
you're the IT person.
We need a brain to figure this out. Like I said, we've tried everything.
I think Ronnie Rickard has been drinking. John Savage is a frigging genius. Love hearing the stories on his experiences. Mr. Rickard, I'm not sure how many bottles you're in tonight. Does that, well, I mean, hi, John. I do have to agree with you to an extent, though, Ronnie. I love listening to some of Savage's stories, and very intelligent when it comes to this field. And And not just this, but listening to him and getting the chance to get out and metal detect with him is a blast too. So you ought to try that one sometime, Rickard. But yeah, I mean, I know I was talking with Gene this past week. I forget who else I was talking to about the different energy forms. And, what's that one field that we're not monitoring that is the biggest factor in paranormal activity? I mean, I don't know. Sullivan, give me a thumbs up in chat if you're still there. Sullivan was with us at Pamplin Park, and, it was off the rails. And I don't know what the difference was Saturday night. I know the planetary alignment was supposed to be most dominant or whatever on Friday night.
Yeah.
But Saturday was just crazy. I mean, we even had a guest that captured a horse running by her. You could hear the clip clop of the feet running.
But I would have thought the energy would still be strong because, I mean, it takes a while for them to pull back apart, as far as the.
Yeah, I don't think it would be just a one-day thing.
No.
But
Because you can start feeling that energy as they start to align.
mhm.
If you got people that are super sensitive to stuff, I had people reaching out to me telling me that they could feel a difference in energy and was wondering if it was coming from the planet alignment that was coming. So
Very well could be. But it's an interesting theory of what if there's a different energy source that we haven't been focusing on that is truly the feeder for paranormal activity. And I think everybody has been so focused on what historically has just been EMF and static. But there has to be another energy field that we're not looking at that needs to be given attention.
I mean, they're, if you're communicating with us through, I think from a photographic perspective, you use the infrared and the ultraviolet angles from a full spectrum camera. So you're really not seeing with your naked eye, but you're seeing it in those spectrums of light. Yeah, I think if we were to develop something that could read a little further into those EMF scale, into that whole EMF scale that we're looking at, we only look at a very small portion of it. If we could look at the deeper into it, there's probably something out there if we could just get the equipment strong enough to handle it.
So you think a broader spectrum EMF?
Yeah, we need a broader than just we use full spectrum, but they're limited. You're only seeing, you got the entire EMF scale, and we're seeing this much of it. You got on that, but you also got on that gamma and all that stuff on the one end, and you got low frequency on the other end, and you have all this everything in between. So somewhere on that scale, there's got to be something. We just don't know what it is. We've covered the lower end to at least in some capacity, because figure even an ELF meter, extremely low frequency meter is reading into that real low extreme on the EMF scale versus something like getting into the gamma rays on the right hand side. Stuff we don't have anything to read that. We can't even get close to it. We couldn't even be in the presence of it. It would kill us. So there's somewhere maybe on that side that we're not focusing in on. We haven't really explored. If you look at the scale left to right, we've explored the left side. We haven't explored the right side as much as we probably could. You want to get really into it. I mean, get into some radio frequencies and things like that, but I'm not really getting into the microwave and the gamma rays, that end.
Yeah, I really don't want to cook myself while I'm trying to investigate.
Well, that's it. And those are the so you're asking about things we aren't exploring. I mean, really, if you think about the equipment that we do use, we have radios. We can pick up radio frequency. We do have, somewhat, effective full spectrum cameras that can pick up images from time to time. You have, we use, EMF meters that are ranged everywhere from extremely low frequency up to, as high as they can read. But we're not getting into those higher extremes. We're not able to even look at them. I mean, we are very limited on the right side of the scale. Past that, what is it? ultraviolet on the right hand side. I forget which is which, left or right. But in any case, you have that right side where we'd have to expand into that a little bit further. Into the, I think we're going to find that if we can develop a camera that can see deeper into that ultraviolet and infrared light, respectively, that we're going to be able to eventually develop something that is going to see them. They're all around us. What makes the conditions right for a picture from time to time to have an image in it that the next picture wouldn't. So if you want to get really crazy, you get into that string theory and all that shit, crossing back and forth, the waves and all that stuff. You get really technical about it, but that's all of us just farting out of our asses. We don't know what we're talking about. We take guesses at what we think.
Yeah, but in that same line of thought, with a camera, sometimes you get a picture, sometimes you don't.
Right.
Why can we sometimes see a full-bodied apparition or a shadow figure, but other times we can't?
Well, I think that comes into it too, though, Dan. I think you have those people that can see it, and
no. I mean, I've had like general groups be able to see an apparition, but what's the variable that apparition was able to manifest itself into the visible spectrum?
We've tried, and I don't know if you guys have ever experimented with this, but we've tried using ultraviolet light and infrared light, almost like a crossing pattern where we would set it up on our tripod. You have the tripod legs and the camera on the center. We'd have two ultraviolet lights facing towards like a focus point. And maybe it'd be like 5 or 6 feet out in front of you. There's this focus point where they're technically the two ultraviolet or infrared, full spectrum lights are kind of crossing paths. And we're thinking that maybe if it's the right angle, that you'd be able to have something pass by that particular spot and just be enough light to manifest it. Never had any luck, but we tried experimenting with that. I'm thinking other things we've done. I mean, I don't know. I mean, that's off the top of my head. It's, we've tried triangulating recorders. I have 3 recorders in a room to see where you can get, where if you can pick out where an area where something might exist. Nothing's definite. You can't always replicate anything, so it's hard. But if you don't try, you're never going to be able to anyway. You got to be willing to experiment.
Oh yeah, and I mean,
criticism while you're doing it. And there's a lot of shit out there that are going to tell you you're an asshole for trying something they think isn't and in their mind doesn't make any sense. But if you don't try it, how are you going to know? Right.
I remember years ago I set up a red and green Christmas light thing, a little laser, and a fog machine in the attic up at Haldeman Mansion. And I had one of Susquehanna Regional PD up there with me. He had been sent to the house on a noise complaint. He was terrified at first. It took Carissa and I an hour to get him out of his car. And then I finally spent another 30 minutes. I got him to go into the building with me. So we're up in the attic. I've run the fog machine. I've got the red and green laser set up. And he said, "So what's this for?" And I explained what the thought is behind it. And I shit you not, about 10 minutes later, this figure looked about 2 feet tall, goes marching across, and you see the foil of the smoke behind it. And he looks at me and he goes, what was that? I don't know, but that was cool as shit. And he goes, "I know what that was. That was my fucking clue to leave. I'm done." But it was just this little figure went through the red and green dots and through the fog. But
you got to try it. You got to put it out there. You got to mix and match like that to see what works.
That makes me think, okay, so I didn't need ultraviolet. I didn't need infrared. I just had a regular red and green laser set up. But what's the variable of if I had infrared or if I had ultraviolet, would I have seen that figure better? Or would I have not seen it at all? What's the variable that spirit plays with that makes them visible or not visible? And is it something that they can do kind of of their own accord?
I don't know. It seems like they're all different. What works for one doesn't necessarily work for the other.
You know what? I know how we're going to figure this out. David, I think for the betterment of the field, you need to go to that side and check it out. Let us know.
I'll let you
You
know.
know what? When we come down, we'll bring some of our things I'm talking about, the UV light and all that stuff. We'll see if we can remember to bring all that stuff down with us. We got room in the cars, and we'll play with it. You bring your stuff you work with. We'll bring that stuff, and we'll see if we can play and make it work.
Yeah, I mean, something's bound to work. Now, I don't have the fog machine. Well, no, I think we do still have the fog machine. I don't have the laser. They stole that when they broke in. Back at the beginning of COVID lockdown, some jackwagon pried the back window open here and stole a ton of our shit, which is why the windows are all screwed shut now.
I got a red laser we can set up, and it's we got all that stuff we can play with some things.
Yeah, it was just a cool concept, and I thought it worked great. But you have to be in a contained area. Like we've tried it here in the basement, but it takes so damn much fog to get it to where that laser grid penetrates the fog without being too much.
Right. Yeah, then it gets to the point where it distorts too much. And we thought about taking like a we tried experimenting with there was a device called goddamn, what was it called? Vector, I think is what we bought. It was a Vector. It's like what they use in school, but it allows you to plug probes into it.
Mm-hmm.
And it broke. Unfortunately, I got it cheap, and I wouldn't buy another one because it was like $300. I was like, yeah, no, it ain't worth that. But I do have some probes for it still. And anyway, one of them that we wanted to get, we never got the chance to get it was a laser. But it was one of the ones you would set up. You'd be able to set mirrors up across from it and see the bounce of mirrors, and kind of create your own, algorithm while it goes on the ground, your own crossing. Something would have to pass through, and
your own laser. Laser path.
Well, the nice thing about it is that was only one of the 3 probes you could put in it. Now you could set that probe up with that laser at the same time having a temperature sensor, same time as having sound level, whatever, and all these different things, an EMF meter. They had come with all kinds of things. You could just put them out there, and it was great because when one would be affected, if you would see real time how the other ones were being affected. So, temperature sensor and like an EMF reader, whatever. Okay. So you'd have, if EMF was jumping or lowering or whatever, you'd see the temperature fluctuation. And we used it for a while. It's downstairs. Otherwise, I'd take it out and show you. The unit is broken now, but I don't know, it just stopped working. But we had gotten it. They use it in like schools. And picked it up. And it's actually not this thing, but it's like the same brand. Vernier. This was actually a sonar that we use with it. You can see like the probe down here. Plug in, and it would have the sound. It would have like a temperature, and it would have anything you plugged into it, and they would all run simultaneously at the same time. So, and this thing here was like it bounced out a sound signal and it would come back. So if I had it from here to my wall, it would know how far it was, and if something were to pass between, it would trip the distance on the screen. And at the same time, you'd have out near it, like, a thermometer or whatever to see if the temperature would drop while that happened. Now, we never had anything happen, but we were trying to use those different panels or different patterns to see if we could correlate what was being affected if something were to be present. So we tried different things. I mean, we've used sound. We've used, like I said, we've tried to do crossing like light patterns to see if we can get like a focus point. We've tried, everything we can think of. We've even used prisms. Like I took a prism out and put it in front of a camera to see if I could dispel the light through a prism and see if maybe I could identify which light, frequency was one we'd see something in. Okay, that was a shot in the dark. It didn't do shit. All it did was make a cool effect in the room. But it took a UV light. It actually took an IR light extender and made the whole room lit up because it was coming through the prism. It was like a round one, like a glow, and it lit the whole room. I was like, this is great, use it for that reason. But other than that, I spent $80 on prisms that I had no use for.
So. I remember that.
What's that?
I said I remember that.
Yeah, I try everything. You got to put it out there. You can't if you're like you say, get back to your original point. If you're just going to use the same old shit that everybody else puts out there, you're never going to get anywhere because it's obviously not working.
Yeah.
So it's working to a degree, but then it stops. So you got to be innovative.
No, I don't want to be that guy who creates that camera. I would love, just put it this way, I would love it if the opportunity came along, but I'm not looking to be that guy who comes out and develops the camera that's the all end all be all camera. They record, sees, and everything is, the holy grail. But you got to try something. And if you're just going to rely on a REM pod inside of a dog versus a little piece of plastic versus inside of a whatever else you decide to put it in, it's still a REM pod. It doesn't change anything. It's the same technology that you're using. So we actually have had little tech roundtables, like kind of thing, where we go online and just express ideas between the group. All the scientific thinkers would get together and just discuss ideas, and that's how we came up with some of the different things we were doing. That'd actually be a pretty good discussion. Maybe have like people that are tech minded, and you get them on there and kind of discuss options to see if there's things that they could maybe add to it. We tried working with frequency, creating a frequency generator to see if we could. When we did actually one experiment was at the Zone 13 where we did the Ghost Nation episode out of. We did in that basement there. We had set up blindfolded. But we went downstairs with the frequency, and there was people controlling the frequency from upstairs with the frequency generator. You could do it remotely. So they were changing the frequencies, and we had a series of questions that we would ask. And it was like, what is your name, where you're from? It was like 8 or 10 questions, but they were the same 8 or 10 questions. When we asked those 8 or 10 questions at different levels of frequency, to see if we could actually pinpoint a frequency where responses will come across. We weren't able to really isolate a specific one, but we did notice that we got more responses. Any response we did get were in the lower frequencies. More into that infrasound. So we sort of proved that, well, that makes sense because we don't hear it. Yet our recorders do anyway. So we test, maybe at 30, decibel or whatever it was, whatever we were using. But we tried different things like that. It's got to be innovative.
Based, talking about the frequency of EVP captures, some of my best seem to come around that 8 hertz range. Far below human hearing.
Right.
They are so dominant vocally in that 8 hertz range that they blow up the spectrogram on that level.
That's good information because we got it around, I think, if I remember, we've been years like 10, 15, 20 in that range. So same idea. And we did it in groupings of like 5 or so. It wasn't, so I think you were maybe onto something there. If you know that if you create a white noise of 5 or 10 hertz in a room, then if you put that out there, it's not affecting you. Your recorders can still hear it because we checked that. We made sure the recorders were still able to pick up that frequency, and we know which of our recorders are able to go to which is the most sensitive versus the ones that are less sensitive. So, for instance, the Olympus recorders, for whatever reason, pick up the lowest frequencies. Okay, so we know that we use our Olympus recorders, we're able to get into that infrasound a little bit more, and if we generated that white noise at 5 or 10, perhaps they could use that to generate their voice and transmit it in more than just a word. It could be a sentence if they're able to lock onto that frequency.
Well, have you ever heard the singing that I captured at Henricus?
I've never heard anything you've captured. I don't think. Yeah.
All right, you need to look me up on SoundCloud.
All right.
And there's 2 different titles on there. One is Do It Fucker, and the other is Rock Hall Bible Steel. They're shot simultaneously. We had 2 recorders going. It was myself and one other person in Henricus Park. And I captured what sounds like a damn chorus of 3 to 5 people singing. When I looked at that on the spectrogram, it looks like it's somewhere around 8 and 10 hertz. It's way below our hearing range.
That's the magic number.
Yeah, and we didn't hear anything, but both recorders showed it into that same range. Now, I don't know how much I trust Audacity on the spectrogram to tell me that this is that frequency, but that's what Audacity showed it to be. It was somewhere around that 8 to 10 hertz range.
I use AVS. I'd have to try it on the. I'd have to download it on the AVS and see if it gives us the same range.
Yeah, we'll go to SoundCloud, search my name, and find those 2 audio files.
I will. Yeah.
They're 2 minutes long of nothing but EVPs. It's incredible. Like it starts, you hear us walking up to the building and you hear me opening the door and you hear an English accented female say, "Didn't knock." Very softly, but it's there. And then you hear me say, "I'm going to steal your Bible and take it up to the church and read from it. What do you think of that?" And you hear a very low, soft, "Do it, fucker." Then Sandy, the girl that was with me, says, "Yeah, Reverend, get up in his face and tell him what you think of him holding and touching your Bible." One recorder, it's a little bit louder on than the other, but they both capture "Do it, fucker."
Mm-hmm.
And then the singing, one is louder for that than the other. And we are standing side by side, like the three of us sitting here, we're that close together. But one recorder, it's louder on than the other.
Yeah, isn't that amazing how that happens? How they can lock one to one and not the other ones.
It's insane.
It's
But
crazy.
they're in that 8 to 10 hertz range, if I remember right.
Yeah, like I said, that's where we tested as well. And I don't remember specifically how it ended up, but yeah, it was around the 10. I know that was like the magic number. And that's definitely below the hearing we can hear, but it makes you wonder if, like, I've played around with one of those frequency things where you can see where you stop hearing it.
Yeah.
Okay. And my kids can hear a lot lower into it or a lot higher into it than obviously I can, because my 51-year-old ears are saying, up yours. Okay. I don't want to hear that anymore. Whereas these younger kids are able to hear into that infrasound or maybe into that ultrasound, and we don't hear a little bit. I've never captured anything that I'm aware of in the ultrasound, definitely the infrasound. And it makes you think with like a young kid, before they've gotten older and their ears are developed, and maybe that's why they have the invisible friends in a sense, where they're actually talking to somebody in that infrasound and we can't hear. They're able to have that communication.
I think that's a good part of it. And, the way that Mr. Savage is right there with headphones on, I guarantee he's got the volume a little louder than his kids would for this conversation. No. But I think our age and having done that for so many years, I mean, how many of us ran around with a, Sony Walkman and headphones?
How many drive around with their car with the radio as loud as you can? You don't even have to have the headphones on. You just close the window.
Did you guys hear me pull up?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was having a jam session when I pulled up. So
I had a buddy who had a what do they call subwoofer in his trunk, and we thought we were hot shit driving around with that thing blasting full force. You remember the song Dire Straits, "Money for Nothing"?
Oh yeah.
In the beginning, how it has that real intense, bass.
Boom,
Boom, boom, boom, boom. Well, he had that shit blasted full blast on there. And we're driving down the street, driving like, God knows what damage did to our ears. It's an old one of those old black Camaros, like an old Firebird Camaro kind of looking car, the old ones. And he had a big ass subwoofer that was too big for even a house. He put it in his trunk, and he had this thing ripping. And I guarantee we did damage.
Absolutely. Oh, I guarantee.
I drive around my radio blaring now just because that's the only way I can hear it.
What?
I just enjoy loud music.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I think I'm curious. I don't know what the frequency range capability of is on a DR60, but what makes them pick up so damn much? You get amazing shit on a DR60.
Read up on it. You find out. See what the lower end is. It's probably the lower end. If you figure if they're reading into that lower end a little bit more, you might be catching in the infrasound that normal recorder doesn't pick up. The voice recorders are only designed to pick up the same range we hear. They're not really, maybe a little bit into it, but they're built to hear us while we hear. It translates into a frequency we can hear. The sound comes in, something does something inside electronics that makes it so we can hear it, converts it to a voice or a sound that we can understand. And you got the same thing with if you have a recorder that's able to pick up into that lower sound, it makes perfect sense. And that's what I said. We found our Olympus recorders when we did it were the most sensitive recorders, and it was a little tiny little buy it at Target Olympus recorder. It wasn't the $200 H4s that I carry. You know, it was the $30 Olympus recorder that I just probably saw and grabbed because here's a great recorder. Look, I can plug it into a computer. I need a voice recorder, and it actually is the best one we have. Now, it picks up the lowest frequency, but the sound quality isn't as good. I mean, the H4s have a cleaner sound, but they're not able to get as deep into that infrasound as this Olympus recorder can.
Exactly. So, I've got an older Olympus that it was something, I forget the exact model number, but I remember it was a 600 something or something 600.
Mm-hmm.
And it did phenomenal. And then I lost the damn thing.
You ever tried doing an EVP session? And it's a little bit changed, different direction with the conversation. But like an EVP session, we have set up voice recorders with pre-recorded questions on it. You ever do that?
Yeah.
And, you ever have any luck with that? I never did. Never got any responses off of it. But it'd be like a recorder playing back an EVP session and with another recorder next to it, recording.
It's been several years since we tried it, and I don't recall what the outcome was. But yeah, we had asked a bunch of questions on recording, and then left it in a location, and we left the area.
Correct.
And
right.
The questions are 30 seconds spaced out.
Yeah, properly done EVP session. And exactly. And it was like 20-minute long session. We let it run, and 20 minutes later went back and we picked up the recorders, analyzed them, did it a few times, different locations. No luck. Now, we did also try something else like a spirit box, but instead of letting it cycle through, set it up on a frequency and let it run and see if you get responses that way. So instead of letting it cycle through the rapid fashion it does and creates its own noise, we let it find a station that didn't have anything on it. It was completely static. And let it play that way. Let that play as a noise in the room. We're recording next to it. We did get responses through that. So they were able to manipulate through the radio. So that was, I guess, a similar idea where we're letting the technology just do its thing. Like a regular radio, just put it on a static station, like 80 or something that's not go over in Europe or some bullshit place, that our spirit boxes have on them. And we were able to let it run, and we did catch a couple EVPs off of it.
I know one of the craziest spirit box sessions I've ever listened to the results from. Jody Parks did it in an abandoned school. And, accordingly, the boiler operator, janitor, or whatever, was accused of molesting children and everything else, and took his own life. And he was supposedly one of the resident spirits in this school. So in the basement, they're running spirit box session, and they ask him, do the other spirits here torment you? And she said at that moment, the spirit box, SB7 is all they were using at the time. She said it went dead silent. And then you hear a voice says, I'll skin you alive.
Oh my.
And then shut down. She's like,
that's definitely not radio interference, huh?
Yeah. I mean, she said it was just, I'll skin you alive. If it was scanning, that's 10 hops, 10 hops, 12 hops.
Mm-hmm.
So, but then it shut down instantly. But the question comes in, why did it go dead silent for a full second before that came through? What energy was that spirit able to do to manipulate that SB7 to do that? That to me is crazy.
Yeah, we've had something similar with the SP7s where we'll have a voice recorder and you'll actually hear the EVP and then hear it come through the spirit box as well. So you'll have the answer and then say what's your name, John, and you'll hear John and an EVP, an actual EVP, and then a second or two later you hear it come through the spirit box.
We had something similar happen at Mount Eagle Farms. I investigated with Transcend Paranormal. Twisted Paranormal Society. And I had done a remote view on the place. So me and the old man in the one upstairs room, we didn't get along very well. Like when I was doing my remote view, I went in that room, and as I entered the room, he charged at me from across the room and yelled at me, "Get out, fucker," and reeked of liquor. And this was just in a remote view. So when we actually went there a couple of weeks later, there's like 8 of us sitting in his room. and you hear me on the recording, and they've got Spirit Box going in the background, you hear me go, so Doc, why don't you tell everyone else that's here what you told me when I came by myself a couple of weeks ago? Spirit Box jumped on with Get Fucked, and EVP at that instant was Get Out, Fucker. And they went almost exactly the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And
you gotta manipulate that.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy. That was a really cool one. I was happy with that one.
But you can't repeat it every time. It's almost impossible to replicate on a regular basis. You know, if you knew you could do it by just turning it on every time, there'd be a lot. We'd be having a different conversation than we're having right now.
Yeah, we'd give up on this because then we would be able to get the answers. Mm-hmm. Or would we? I still don't think they're allowed on that side to give us answers.
I agree with that. 100%. I agree with that.
I still think there's the unwritten code of the dead, what they can and cannot share with us.
You've got to kind of figure it out on your own.
Yeah.
As that free will comes in, you got to make the decisions to get to the point where you can have that benefit of hearing and knowing what they know.
Yeah.
So maybe.
What's your take on it, David?
I've been known to break a few rules, so when I go to the other side, I'll let you know.
I can't picture you as a rule breaker, David.
Okay.
What's your thoughts on it, John? You've been down there super quiet, and I'd love to hear your take on it, my friend.
I don't think we have enough time right now. Maybe next week. Next time.
Damn it.
He has been quiet tonight, though. Yeah. Sorry, we've been hogging the whole show, you and I, Dennis.
I know. But I mean, at least,
what host?
Yeah. At least,
There she is.
I mean, at least obviously we've been somewhat entertaining. Mr. Savage there hasn't gone to sleep.
It's true. I think it's been a great conversation.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I would love to know, and maybe if we could get a white noise generator that pushes that 5 to 10 hertz range, run audio at the same time, even if you hear the static. I would love to know if that is what it takes to produce much better EVPs.
Well, let's give it a whirl. Like I said, when we come down,
bring it.
Frequency generators, and we've got white noise. We can do whatever.
Do you have them that can get into that frequency range?
I don't know. One way to find out. I don't know.
All right.
I mean, I imagine we do. We created them for our test. Yeah. So we were running them at like 10, 20. I could have gone lower. Just got to find one we were using again. We just downloaded one off the app. So it wasn't like we did anything special. We just downloaded an app and it played a frequency, and some of them we could hear, some of them we couldn't. It wasn't very scientific, that's for sure. It was scientific as we made it. And we wanted to go back and do it a second time, but ended up we were never able to do that. We were going to go back and have different subjects. So we did a test with 3 or 4 of us, and we kept the conclusions to ourselves. And then we were going to go back and do it with another 3 or 4 people and see if they could replicate it. So,
yeah. I wish I had a place where I could go repeatedly to get, try to investigate different things. Oh, wait.
Yeah, that's right. We own one right here.
There you go.
360. Yeah, it must be nice, huh?
On the show.
Stink bugs fucking.
Try to keep my show decent. You can't keep anything decent in the cabin. God.
It's not.
Quiet tonight, too. Is anybody on chat still? They're gone. There's nobody there.
No, we've got a couple people that's still watching.
Yeah.
Oh, no, never mind. They separated. Get rid of them.
We just talking to ourselves?
No.
Do all these great minds on here. Nobody wants to partake in our
Well,
thoughts.
we get sometimes when I after the show I download everything and I upload it to YouTube. I upload it to Spotify. We have viewers on that. They'll watch after the fact. So sometimes there's not a lot of people that are on right away, but once I upload it up on the YouTube channel, we get quite a few people that watch.
Oh, you.
Yeah, my son, he listens to it on Spotify at work.
Yeah. So it's in different places.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to hear myself anyway. It's okay.
And Phil says he's listening silently. So, and Phil's got some great ideas as well. He's another one of those highly analytical minds that thinks outside the box. That is an asset to this field because he doesn't go with just the normal shit. Oh, this is what I saw on TV. He's the type like you and I, Frank, where he goes, this is what I saw on TV, but I want to tweak it and try it this way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like to take it just the next step even further than that and just try to create my own shit,
Yeah. Well, a lot of the TV shows give you some ideas and they give you a path to start towards. But then when you start veering off that path, you realize, okay, this is more where it needs to be. And that's where the creative mind and the intellectual aspect of this comes into play. And that's where you're creating things like, when I spoke with Jeff Eastman over at North Canton and had the tripwire created, that was the idea. I got tired of setting that field mine of REM pods and other bullshit. I wanted one line. I wanted to be able to deploy it and leave it. Mm-hmm. And now Boo's Paranormal, Ron's got an awesome sonar tape that we were playing with at Belgrove Plantation. And it was cool as shit because we know somebody walked through this doorway and all of a sudden that thing lit up and the light ran to the footstep point. And it's outside the box thinking like that. That's this field's going to get somewhere. Not from I saw this on TV, let's do it this way.
God knows I spent enough money trying to find those, little things that aren't the norm. Like say $80 worth of prisms.
So what have you done with the prisms now?
They're in a box somewhere over here. Somewhere. I got a whole box of them. I have to find them. I have one of them. I do carry the ball one. We do carry it and we have like a box of just random gear, kind of things that we picked up. These little kids and gadgets I'm talking about, little things that like little trigger toys, whatever. I do have it in there somewhere. So it's just a little crystal ball. That's all it is. A little crystal prism. I have to find them. Next time I come on with you, I'll see if I can locate them. And they're in here behind these boxes somewhere. There's a whole box of them. I got like 8 or 10 prisms in there, all different sizes, shapes. None of them worked. They didn't do what we thought we could do.
But here's a thought, Frank. Maybe it didn't work that day.
Yeah, they didn't do much. They didn't act like we thought they were going to act. It was, maybe we just couldn't see it, and we only tried them a couple times. But just put it this way, we weren't very. Wow, this is awesome. It's kind of like, all right, on to the next one. Yeah, that's not doing anything. And we finally found that the ball worked the best. So,
all right. Well, this isn't the world on fire experiment I thought it would be.
No, I was hoping for a lot more. It was kind of disappointing, I watched $80 go every one of them.
Hell, I've spent far more than that on bar tabs before.
Yeah, but what the fuck am I going to do with prisms, man? I got at least, a bar tab, I could getting something out of it, You got a prism in a box, sitting there in a box. It'll be there for the next 100 years.
Oh, they'll bring me a couple of prisms. Shit, I always like gifts.
I'll bring some down with me. Shit, I got nothing to do with them. They're here somewhere behind here. Because I got an old box of them. I'll bring some down. You can experiment with them.
So you were just trying them through, like running light through them.
Mm-hmm. That's it.
How about if you were to set them up in front of the camera and let the camera lens look through them?
Another thought. Never tried to do that. It's another idea. See with them. Like I said, we experimented with them. See that? There's always something good come out of it. Now we just threw light. We threw like an extender out and put them in front of an extender to see if we could dispel the light across the room. in a different way, so we could see. I guess in my head, I was expecting to see fucking rainbows on the wall. It didn't work out that way. It just didn't happen. But it was okay because we wanted to try it. It was worth it. And it was one of those little roundtable tech meetings that we came up with it. And of course, the brain starts going, and I think, well, I have $80. Oh yeah, I got $80. I went online on like eBay and I bought every friggin' prism I could find. And I even got a set of like 6 or 7 of them. It was a set of different ones, different shapes and sizes. Some had stands, some didn't have stands. It was it was nice. I got quite the collection. But I didn't realize they made prisms of so many different shapes and sizes. Learned something from that.
But yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's got to be a different way that those could be deployed for experiment.
Oh, it's got to be. I can see. Let me see if I can see them. Well, you guys keep talking. See if I can grab them real quick. They got to be here if I can get to them.
Do you know anybody who was an audio specialist with electronics?
I know Gene designs systems, but I don't know that he is an audio specialist.
I just wonder if somebody could make a recorder that is geared towards the 5 to 10 range.
It's not a bad idea. We can kind of put it out there to the world, I guess, and ask.
Yeah. But it's just a recorder that records that, but plays it a normal.
Now, I wonder if there would be an app for it. Like, that's an idea. We'll have to research that online. See if I can find a recorder that only records in that 5 to 10 hertz range, even if it's 5 to 20 hertz. But it gets down into that range.
Records there, but plays it where we can actually hear it.
Yeah, that would be the trick, is to get it to play it back into a hertz range that we can hear, which is anywhere between 20 hertz and 20 kilohertz average. Now, as we age, like Frank pointed out, that 20 hertz slowly creeps up, and then 20 kilohertz.
There you go.
That's not a bad idea. There may be an app for it that records in that low frequency. Yeah. So if you were to, I'm curious, Frank, push that up against your camera.
Sure.
Okay, so all that gave me was an inverted view. Now the question comes in, because that should be able to look into the various spectrums of light.
Yeah, if I could get an angle right, I'm sure it would. I'm not quite sure exactly how to hold it on there, so it does that. But my hands blocking it a bit.
Yeah,
But
so my thought is, if it were up to a camera that's able to see the different spectrums of light that come through that, then would that camera be able to pick something up? Even though you pressed it up there and all we saw was a mirror image of what was there, would the camera itself detect something differently?
look at that, the whole set of them. What?
I mean, we can play with them, man.
I'll bring them down with me. All kinds of friggin' prisms. Like I said, I got shaped all kinds of fucking prisms.
Have
Like that. Huh?
Have you got blink cameras or something like that? What's
Blink.
the other camera? Not blink. The little tiny cameras. Like a ring cameras, yeah. Like
Cameras,
ring.
Ways, whatever.
I wonder if you were to set those in front of that camera, would that help? Well, no, because the camera lens itself is still shielded from UV-IR.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll bring them down with me. We'll play with them. You're going to be there, right? You at least have some.
Well, I might say hi to you while you're down here.
I see this one here came on a nice little tripod thing.
Oh,
That one, you could set it up. And I thought this would be great because it's set up in front of right on the tripod. It didn't do shit. Nothing. I couldn't do shit.
it did do something, Frank. It lightened your savings account.
Look here, right here. Yeah, it's like a little. I don't know. It's not hooked in, but you can hook it in there. So I don't remember how to even do it, but you can hook it in there. Yeah. So we got all kinds of things in here. I got a box full of these damn things. Some of them, like I said, one of them's in service. you have the ball over here. We carried up with it because it's the only thing that actually remotely did anything to the light. So we figured, maybe someday we'll have a need for it. But these other ones, no, $80. This is a nice one here. This was like one you get in school. I bought a good one here. This is a nice piece of crystal. Look at that one.
Oh yeah,
That's a big one.
That is nice.
That's a big one.
that's what she said. That's a nice one. That's a big one.
About the right size too. Yeah. So, like I say,
Oh,
Yeah.
wait, that changes. Well, that turned it more towards him. So that one,
you can see a little rainbow effect there.
yeah.
Yeah, but I think you would have to have a IR camera or a UV camera or actually a full spectrum camera to look through what that provides, because that doesn't strip any light, any coloration or anything from what comes through. So if you were to record full, I think, if you were to record full spectrum, have that in front of it, but I don't know. It was a curiosity.
Like I said, I'll bring them down. I'll bring them down with me, and if we think of it, we'll play with them. If you can find a use for them, it'd be great. Because like I said, right now they sit on the shelf and they're collecting dust. So
Yeah, well, I got a lot of shit that's doing that.
this is what I like about my group is the fact that we're just not mainstream. I just got. That's why I don't hang out with the whole paranormal community too much. Just don't associate. My brain thinks differently. It doesn't work the same way as most others do. There's no disrespect. It's just that's how it's not being mean or nasty or even like inconsiderate towards any of them. I just don't relate. I think of things differently. So
Yeah, I think having people that think outside the box is more important than the tag-alongs, because the tag-alongs are just going to do what mainstream's doing, and they're not going to progress the field at all. But folks like Phil that thinks outside the box, Savage thinks outside the box, Dave just thinks about box.
And I don't think about anything. So, it's okay.
But yeah, there's so many different things to this field that I think if we as a whole, for lack of better terms, I think it needs a fucking factory refresh. And let's start again.
I agree.
Because
the ego at the door, check the ego at the door, and everybody work together and actually come up with something that's beneficial and useful. Instead of it being I just think that it's turned into a club. Yeah. You're either in the cool club or you're not.
Cliquish.
Yeah, very. And like I said, I just don't stick. I don't play around with that. I mean, NJ Rope has always been, as long as you've known me, Jerry. I mean, even before that, we've always been quiet and kept to ourselves, and we take pride in that. We don't have to. We never got caught up in it. And I think it's rewarding because, I do think that there's people that have gotten so deep into it that it's all they know, and it almost becomes too much of a part of them. Whereas I can still keep the real world a part of my life. There's people that are just they've gotten so far into it that whatever's out there has affected them in such a way that they just don't have a sense of reality anymore. In my opinion,
that's true.
They've gotten too deep into it, thinking that there's somebody important,
and
they're not.
That's how the papers falling out of the cabinet started, with one bang.
Yeah.
Sorry, we heard something as you were talking.
Go get it. Go get that camera you got there on. Go.
It's 9:30.
Holy crap!
Holy cow!
Well, we lost a little bit of time, so I
yeah.
can understand that too. But
anyway, good conversation.
Yeah, very good. It's always nice to talk about things, scientific stuff, and just different theories and things like that, or let Dennis talk about the scientific things or Savage talk about the scientific things. It's
Yeah, my brain don't work that
a little
fast.
over my head, but I like it.
Yeah, my brain don't work that fast. I sit here and listen, and then I think of something after y'all are on the next subject.
Well, who was
You
on
just gotta try it next time. You just go out there and just try. You remember what you hear, and if you like it, you try it.
Mhm.
Try experimenting with it. Expand on it. That's how you do it.
What?
What'd you tap me for?
He didn't.
Did not. Was it like
Yeah, it was a
Like-
tap,
that?
like a tap.
That's what got me. But yeah, my hands are I did not touch
Just
it.
like you didn't throw that rock at me at Old House Woods too. Yeah, I got you.
I did not just touch you. So we seem to have some activity here at the cabin on 360.
Yes, we do.
This place never ceases to amaze me. But
Bring them prisms because you never know.
that's right.
I mean, you really
Maybe
don't
we can
know.
get them to chuck them at Jerry's head.
Oh,
I mean, we'll find a use for them, Frank, even if it's ammunition.
There you go. I've been waiting for someone to give me something to use them for. So I wish we had a use for them. I thought maybe we were on to something, but nah.
that's you.
What do you think about it, John? Good idea. You've been quiet today. Prisms?
Give it a try. Use lasers.
Yeah, that was another thought. Yeah, lasers. We never did try that. Yeah, but there's always lots of things you can do. And lasers actually were really good because that probably would split it. You'd probably see the laser be split, wouldn't you?
Yep.
It was split. Yeah. And again, honestly, I don't even know how to hold a prism. That could be part of it as well, because I mean, I know you have to hold it at a certain angle or something, right? We were just kind of placing them in front. You have to hold them at an angle, or I don't know. They have to hit the point. I don't know. I'm not a prism guy. Science wasn't my high point. Even though it's funny, I have a job as a scientist. I don't think about science at all. It's funny, right? Just pays my bills.
We'll have to play with them when you all come down. We got plenty of space.
Absolutely have them with me when I come down. I will bring them with me. We will do that.
That's cool.
Sounds like a winning plan.
And you guys can be the judge and hold them in front of your cameras like I did for you.
Well, something's bound to be of value of them. Again, even if it's just ammunition to chuck at Jerry.
Thanks.
And who knows? Maybe Spirit will find them fascinating and be, interested in playing with those. But I'll shut up so you can introduce next week's guest and whatever else you need to
Well,
do.
next week we got Kyle Mangus, and he's from White Hill Mansion. So we're going to be talking to him next week.
White Hill Mansion up here, White Hill Mansion? Or down there? You got one down with you guys too?
It's probably where you're at.
That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Up in New Jersey.
More than likely, because I can't remember who suggested. Yeah. So yeah, probably where your area is at.
Yeah, I've investigated that building a couple times.
Yeah. So he'll be on. He'll be on
If
next.
that's the one. Yeah.
Yeah, and the only White Hill mansion I'm aware of is up around New Jersey.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So that's going to be interesting.
Yeah, there's a gentleman named Ken. I don't know if you know Ken Biddle or not. He's
Yes.
okay. He put out in there, and I don't know if it's still there or not, but he in order to prove that what we're experiencing is real, he actually put something, nobody knows what it is, somewhere in that house, and with the some kind of like little thing, a little prize he would give you if you were able to have something solid proof from a EVP or whatever of them telling you where that object was and what it was. So I don't know if anybody's ever found it.
Interesting. Yeah, it is. It is from New Jersey, though.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, I've been there. It's nice. It's an older, broken down building. It's has a great history. It used to have a brothel in it, and there was a
mob hangout for a while. They were in the basement. They had they have a nice bar downstairs. A lot of activity in the basement. And up on the third floor, there's I don't know if you want to know what's there, what your conversation would be, but at least what we've gotten evidence of, and on the Connect and everything, is a little child up on the third floor, up where the brothel area was at, and so forth. Yeah, so a lot of great activity, a lot of great EVPs out there over the years. It's been a few years since I've been there,
Nice.
so should have a good conversation about that.
Yeah. So, but we do appreciate everybody coming on, and we'll see y'all next week at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Tuesday.
Or 8:15, whatever.
Or 8:15, whenever we can get it straight.
Adios, everybody.
Thank you.
All right.
Talking to you guys. Have a blessed week, everybody.
You too.